On July 16, 1945, at 5:29 in the morning, a bomb was exploded in the desert of the American state of New Mexico. But it was not an ordinary bomb explosion. This was the first time that the atomic bomb was being tested. This nuclear test was named Trinity, and the project was led by scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was shocked to see this bomb blast. He expected the size of the explosion to be about 0.3 kilotons of TNT. But in reality, the explosion was 50 times more powerful, 15 to 20 kilotons of TNT. The explosion caused so much heat release that an entire nearby steel tower evaporated. The shockwave was felt up to a distance of 160 kilometers. The mushroom cloud formed by the explosion rose up to 12 kilometers in the sky. Seeing all this, Oppenheimer was so shocked that he repeated a line from the Hindu scripture Bhagavad Gita.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
In the very next month, these atomic bombs were used on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, causing so much destruction and devastation that they marked the end of World War II. If it weren't for Oppenheimer, perhaps the atomic bomb wouldn't have been developed so quickly. The person whose hard work helped America build the atomic bomb and win World War II was later on humiliated and disgraced during his lifetime. But why? Welcome back to the new video of Curiosity Drive. Oppenheimer accomplished many feats in his lifetime, but he will always be remembered in history as the father of the atomic bomb. He was born in 1904 and entered Harvard at the age of 18 with the dream of becoming a chemist. Shortly after gaining admission, he fell ill and could not attend classes for an entire year. Despite this setback, he managed to complete his 4-year degree in only 3 years. Along with being a chemist, he also had a lot of interest in physics. After graduating from Harvard, he went to the University of Göttingen in Germany for research on theoretical physics and completed his PhD at the age of only 23. His nature was such that he did not mix with anyone. He was only focused on his research. After completing his PhD, he returned to the U.S. and resumed his research. Until that time, he was not even remotely related to the atomic bomb. But then Hitler's rule began in Europe, and he gave the task of making the world's most powerful weapon to some German scientists. Now here comes the entry of Albert Einstein. Einstein realized this threat of Hitler and wrote a letter to American President Franklin D. Roosevelt saying that we should also prepare such a weapon, otherwise Hitler may dominate us in coming days. After reading Einstein's letter, the American president immediately took action and ordered the U.S. military to start a research project on the atomic bomb. Today, the world knows this famous project as the Manhattan Project. It is believed that the atomic bomb would never have been created if Albert Einstein had not written this letter to the American president. Well, it should have happened that the U.S. Army would have chosen Einstein for the Manhattan Project because he was the one who wrote this letter to the American president, but it did not happen. Albert Einstein's background was from Germany. His affiliations were with left-leaning political groups and causes, and his associations were with scientists all over the world. So the U.S. Army was suspicious of his political loyalty and feared that Einstein might leak sensitive information. For this reason, Project Manhattan was entrusted to Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer largely agreed with Einstein's views and wanted America to develop the atomic bomb. For this secret project, an entire city called Los Alamos was built in New Mexico. The U.S. government began investing huge sums of money into the project. A total of $2 billion was spent on this project during the period of 1945. It was going to be the most important and most secret project in American history, but handling this secret was very challenging for the U.S. military. A total of 130,000 workers worked on the Manhattan Project at Los Alamos. These people were chosen after rigorous scrutiny to prevent any information about the project from being leaked to the outside world. These people included scientists, technicians, and researchers and support staff. Everyone was instructed not to tell anyone about the project, not even their families. No one here knew each other by real name. Everyone was given a fake name, and a rule was enforced on the project site that if anyone's real name was leaked, they would be punished. Letters used to come here, but on a fake address. That address was P.O. Box 1663, New Mexico. Even the city name was not mentioned in the official letters. For the censorship of letters, the censor department here used to open and read all the letters first and then forwarded them. Similarly, the letters sent from here were also read first. Strict security measures were implemented for entry into the project site. Workers could neither enter without an entry pass nor exit without an exit pass. Even the birth certificates of children born in Los Alamos had only P.O. Box 1663, not the city name. All of this was done to ensure that no small piece of information related to the atomic bomb could be leaked. Oppenheimer had already conducted research on nuclear fission before the Manhattan Project. It is a reaction in which excessive amount of energy can be produced by splitting the atoms. The heaviest element found in nature is uranium. An atom of uranium contains 92 protons and 146 neutrons, which add up to the total atomic mass of uranium, which is 238. After many experiments and research, scientists came to the conclusion that if uranium-238 is passed through a special process, uranium-235 comes out of it, which is a very unstable element. If a neutron collides with this new uranium-235, the uranium atom splits and produces incredible amounts of energy. As soon as the atom splits, new neutrons are released, which collide with other uranium-235 atoms, and this process starts repeating again and again until the nuclear material is exhausted. This entire chain reaction takes only a few microseconds to complete and results in a loud explosion and energy release. If a nuclear bomb is compared to a normal TNT bomb, it will be like comparing an elephant to an ant. Just imagine that the explosive energy of 1 kilogram of nuclear material is equal to 17500 ton of TNT bomb. The bomb that America dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima was called Little Boy. This bomb destroyed 90% of the city. In this bomb, less than 1 kg of uranium underwent nuclear fission. If the same amount of destruction had to be done with a TNT bomb, America would have to drop an amazing 15 million kilograms TNT bomb. It is so heavy that no aircraft can carry it even today. The United States was in a great hurry to complete the Manhattan Project because World War II was ongoing, and there was a threat that Germany might develop the bomb before them. Finally, on July 16, 1945, the world's first atomic bomb was ready, and now it was time to test it. When it was detonated, the entire world was horrified by its magnitude. All scientists who were part of the project, including Oppenheimer, were themselves intimidated by this weapon. For the first time in human history, humans had produced a weapon that had the potential to wipe out the entire human civilization. Without knowing how dangerous this bomb could be to humanity, the very next month, the United States used it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. More than 250,000 people lost their lives in these two attacks. After 6 days, Japan surrendered to America, and this is where the end of World War II happened. Now, you might be thinking here that because of Oppenheimer's achievements, America would have been very pleased with him and would have awarded him the Nobel Prize, but that was not the case. Immediately after the attacks on Japan, Oppenheimer began expressing deep regret. He was deeply sensitive to the fact that his creation had cost the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. These events had completely broken him from within, and he started distancing himself from the world. In those critical moments, if he had wanted, he could have transferred this nuclear power of the United States to anyone in a matter of minutes. This risk made him a very fragile U.S. asset. Various agencies of America started monitoring him, and then what was feared finally materialized. In 1949, the Soviet Union, America's biggest enemy, surprised the world by suddenly detonating atomic bombs. The technology had been leaked, but the United States had no idea from where. Suspicion fell on Oppenheimer because his ex-girlfriend was a member of the Communist Party from the start, and his wife was also a member of the Communist Party earlier. The Communist Party of America used to have very close ties with the Soviet Union. However, Oppenheimer himself had no interest in politics. The American president ordered a veil to be drawn between Oppenheimer and state secrets. An inquiry was set up in which Oppenheimer was accused of being a Soviet agent. He maintained his statement that he had no link with communism and the Soviet Union. No one had any evidence, but still, the decision went against him. He, who was a distinguished scientist, was disgraced and stripped of his security clearance and project rights in 1954. The scientific community, including Albert Einstein, raised their voice against this decision, but to no avail. For the next several years, Oppenheimer lived quietly and stayed away from government projects. Then, nearly 7 years later, in 1961, when John F. Kennedy became the American president, he offered Oppenheimer a chance to establish a new, free, and fair tribunal that could potentially reinstate his security clearance. However, this time Oppenheimer declined the offer. John F. Kennedy knew that he was innocent. That's why he gave Oppenheimer the highest scientific award in America in 1963, but by then it was too late to fully restore his honor. Oppenheimer was diagnosed with cancer, and in 1966 he passed away. His ashes were scattered on a beach in the United States, which is now known by the name Oppenheimer Beach. I hope you will like, share, and comment on this video of Curiosity Drive. See you in the next wonderful video.